Welcome back. Time now for a look at what's making headlines in the world's press. I'm joined by Kyle Brown. Kyle, where are you starting today? Financial Times, is that right?
That's right. We're talking about Kofi Annan. He's just given his notice that he's about to leave at the end of August, in fact, as the international mediator for peace in Syria. He's said in the FT that he's tried a number of things, but he's just been impotent in the face of a war that's just descended into chaos over the past 12 to 14 months. He said that it's just getting worse. Jihadists are now entering the fray in Syria. He's saying that there's now concern that chemical weapons and even biological weapons may be used. There's a fear for the security of these weapons. And he says that, he's leaving with a few words of advice now. He's just saying, once and for all, this is the first time he's said this publicly, that Bashar al-Assad has to leave. He says to the Russians and to Iran and China, they have to steer the Syrian leadership, whatever leadership that might be, in a different direction. And lastly, to the US, he says, to the US, to France, to the UK, you have to get the opposition to engage the members of the government, or the former members of the government, to be more inclusive in whatever post-Assad government that might shape up to be.
All of which leading to more questions about exactly what the US's role should be.
Yeah, so the Daily Beast is saying, listen, this is obviously going to lead to yet a renewed debate about what the US should be doing. We have to resist these repeated calls for the US to lead from behind, as they say. In other words, to keep a low profile, but to feed the opposition using support for military communications, whatever that might be. In fact, that's not the answer, because the Daily Beast says we don't know this vast and diverse group known as the opposition. It's got a lot of unknown elements. We don't know what they consist of. Again, possible reference to the jihadists. So they don't want to get themselves in league with these kinds of elements without knowing what it's going to lead to. They say instead, give support to Turkey, to the neighbors of Syria, so that they can provide a more informed sense of a safer kind of support to whatever the rebels they think are safer to work with in the future. But don't hold ourselves to hostage by allying ourselves with perhaps what might turn out to be radical elements.
Okay, where are we off to next?
Well, we're off to the fact that, let's see, Daily Beast. Now, we're going to talk about Le Monde. Le Monde, we're going to talk about the Olympics. And the Olympics...
And how much it's costing.
And how much they're going to cost, because, in fact, there's been, obviously, a lot of tallying of the medals and the glory that stems from there. But we've not really looked at the cost estimates, not only in terms of dollars and cents, but what it all means. So, in Le Monde, we have a bit of a debate. On the one hand, a gentleman from Goldman Sachs saying, the benefits have been underestimated. There's a chance for the long-term costs generated from the buildings that they've created to be turned over to the use for amateur sports and that kind of thing. Whereas the opponent in Le Monde says, listen, all of this wanton nationalism that stems from it doesn't justify at all the vast expense. In fact, and he worries about not only the drugs in sports, but the drug effect of watching too much sport on television. And in fact, all of the TV time that's been taken up talking about sports, such as perhaps we're doing right now, should have been devoted to other more edifying causes. And so, it's an interesting debate in the back pages of Le Monde as to, whether it's all worth the effort. Perhaps they say, well, we should kind of keep a low profile, watch a bit less sport.
Kyle Brown, thank you very much for that whistle-stop tour of the world's press. Do stay with us here on France 24.